This video is brought to you by
Cool Green Clothing. We done gone worldwide and we coming straight out of Baltimore. And if you're in town, pull up on us at 215 West Saratoga Street. And if you're not in town, go online right now at coolgreenclothing.com and make your purchase. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you ain't cool and getting the green, you're in the way. And that's just basic.
What's going on, YouTube fam? It's your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of the Baltimore Way, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For my day one fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you're feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, feel free to share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. With that being said, let's get right into the story. In most places in America, majority of people wake up every day and head to a job to make sure they are able to provide for themselves or their families. Because one thing about it, if you don't work, you don't eat. But while the traditional route works for some, others are a little bit more impatient. They rather fast money. Rather they feel like it's easier to get, or they like the feeling of waking up, doing their own thing without answering to nobody. In every inner city, even the suburbs in this country, you have everyday people that fight mental health issues, depression, trauma, or they are just trying to hold it together and cope with life. With that, a lot of times comes self-medicating and addiction. And in most cities, it's not hard to find a local drug market. Everybody with product just trying to make a fast dollar. It's supply and demand, but it's also a lot of politics to the drug game as well. For example, a random person can't come around an area that's already established and say I'm selling my pack right here. In every city I've lived in or visited, it's definitely people who have certain blocks, areas of the city, or even whole sides of town, where them and their peoples laid their foundation, which sometimes takes years. Some grow up on these blocks their whole life. Others might be brought in by a friend or family. But one thing for sure, the money that comes through or that's being made is meant to feed whoever has their area. And an outsider coming in can't make a dollar. And when unwanted competition comes, things can take a turn real fast. And on this episode of the Baltimore Way, we'll be taking it all the way back to 2014 to discuss the case of a beef over who could hustle on the block that took a fatal turn. Back in 2014, Baltimore still had the reputation it's always had of being one of the biggest open-air drug markets in America. Since I was a little boy, it was nothing to be outside with my mother and her telling me to watch my step so I wouldn't step on dirty needles or vials. Addiction has always been a problem in the city, but with a demand comes a supply. It's nothing to pull up to a neighborhood in Baltimore, walk to the store, and before you get back to your car, you probably will have been offered everything under the sun. For us Baltimoreans, we know it's a sad reality of how some people feel they have to survive. That year in Northwest Baltimore, Penhurst Avenue to be exact, two friends were hustling in their area. They were at the time 19-year-old DeAndre Boyd and 20-year-old Jonathan Winkler. There was a few other guys who sold stuff around there as well, but it was a mutual respect and understanding. A spot that was making a few dollars, they always had to be on point and make sure no stragglers was coming through trying to shortstop, steal their sales, and step on their toes. In late November, a 23-year-old man named Martell Rooks rode through the neighborhood a few times and was impressed with the operation and foot traffic. So he decided he would go put some testers together and come back to the block later. For out-of-towners, a tester is a sample of a product, a free high that's given to people to see if the product is good. And if so, would they be willing to cut off their supplier to cop from you if your product is better. On December 1st, 2014, Martell went with his move. He came back to the neighborhood, drove around, and started passing out his testers. That day, DeAndre and Jonathan noticed something wasn't right. A decline in the money and the sales wasn't coming as they normally did. When they saw a regular customer, they asked him, like, come here, yo, where you been at this morning? You ain't come get out the gate or come get your usual fix. They asked where everybody at. He told them he got a tester from a man named Martel. Hearing this, the friends became furious. And once they realized he was still in the area, passing out his product, they walked to the car. They asked him, like, yo, who is you? In which he stated, I'm just trying to make some money. In which the two men stated, no, you can't get no money around here. You gotta shake. Martel told them he would hustle where he wanted to, and he would still pass out his product. After a few more words, multiple shots went off. BPD was called to the 3800 block of Penhurst Avenue. When they arrived, they found Martel suffering from a single gunshot wound to the neck, and unfortunately, he wouldn't survive his injuries. Witnesses told police exactly what happened and about the testers, which they found multiple bags of product in Martel's car. Multiple people pointed to the shooters as DeAndre and Jonathan. It didn't take long for police to track the men down, and with witness statements and multiple people pointing to them, both men were taken into custody, charged with first-degree hit and handgun violations. As the case made its way to trial, multiple witnesses took the stand, and the prosecutor painted the case as an execution over drug territory. They stated the two men simply took Martel's life for disrespecting them and trying to hustle on their block. The jury agreed, and in the end, both DeAndre and Jonathan were sentenced to life, were all suspended for 30 years in prison. Rest in peace to Martel. I send my prayers and condolences to his family. This is the kind of story that doesn't just resonate with Baltimore, but all over. In most cities, people are fighting for survival and have been losing their lives over drug money, sales, blocks. I'm not sure how much they was making around there, but I wonder, was it worth 30 years? And trust me, I get it. If you let somebody come on your block and take over, that's what it is. It's over with. You will never be respected around there again. But when you think about the souls lost, men in prison, families hurting over a few dollars and blocks that really don't belong to none of us in the first place, is the end game really worth it? Everybody hopes they will be the one, but most will never make it that far. It's a vicious cycle. But I want to leave this one open for discussion. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. Yeah, man, crazy story. Rest in peace, that man. I definitely send my prayers to his family. But I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. This is another episode of the Baltimore Way. It's your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam. I'm out.